We'll be discussing and answering questions about the post-truth phenomenon. Now, this has become a phenomenon already. Without further ado, I present to you the former editor-in-chief of the Norsunian, Mr. 𝗦𝗢𝗬𝗏 to introduce the panel members.
Yes, thanks, Sir Ed. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Welcome to all of you in the room and to those who are also joining us on the line. I know some of you have already dove into our department's FB page and read who our panelists are for this lunchtime discussion. So I just want to do really quick introductions for the rest of our really all-star panel here this morning. So joining us today, we have a senior law student at Silliman University College of Law. He is a legal apprentice at the Regional Trial Court Branch 9 and the Office of the Provincial Prosecutor in Cotabato. While in law school, he teaches college-level philosophy classes at Bukidnon State University in Malaybalay City and Negros Oriental State University here in Dumaguete City. He finished his bachelor's degree in philosophy with Latin honor, cum laude, harboring a 1.25 or 97% grade point average, and graduated salutatorian during high school. He also studied environmental leadership at Northern Illinois University in the USA as an international exchange student. Please help me welcome Earl Guen Padayao. And we're also joined by another faculty at the Social Science Department with politics, global history, international relations, sociology, and gender studies as specialized fields. She earned her BS in Public Administration degree at Silliman University in 2015 and a master's in Public Management major in Local Government Administration at NORSU in 2021. She also works part-time as a technical staff in the Gender and Development Center of NORSU. Previously, she was a technical advisor for disaster risk reduction and management and LGU in Negros Oriental. She's also Philippines' focal point for the UN Development Program Asia Pacific Regional Hub, assisting the effective governance team in research and documentation initiatives on issues related to civil society, youth, women, and peace building. She also worked with the fundraising committee of the UN Development Program International Policy Center for inclusive growth in mapping potential funding opportunities in the Southeast Asia in the areas of social protection and policy and development. Let's all welcome Sabrina Trasmonte. Also joining us this noon, ladies and friends, is another faculty of the Social Science Department with politics, global history, international relations, sociology, art appreciation, and gender and society as specialized fields. He is a BS in Public Administration graduate at Silliman University, earning cum laude. He was awarded the University Senior Student of the Year and one of the YMCA Outstanding Students in Negros Oriental, all in his senior year. Previously, he was a journal's copy editor at SPI Global and a banker at JP Morgan Chase in Cebu City. He was also a former distributor development executive and key customer development executive at Unilever RFM Incorporated, based in Bacolod City. Currently, he takes a master in public management major in local government administration in NORSU. He is also affiliated with the Gender and Development Center, advocating for gender equality, women participation in education and civil society, and the rights of vulnerable and marginalized sectors of society. Let's give it up for Kenneth Emmanuel Banai. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we have another instructor from the Social Science Department who has taught philosophy and history at NORSU since 2020. He graduated as the class salutatorian from high school and then pursued AB in philosophy at Our Lady of the Angels Seminary College, where he served as a formation president and editor-in-chief of Tugon, the official publication of the said institution, in 2019. He was also a recipient of the same institution's Leadership Award. His professional experience includes 2 years as a CSR for various BPO companies such as Convergys and Qualfon. Because of his religious background, he is frequently asked to serve as a resource speaker for a variety of religious events and gatherings. He is currently pursuing his master's degree in history. To complete the 4 panelists today, let's welcome Joven Halbuna with a virtual applause. So welcome everybody and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Credo, for the introduction. Now, for everyone's information, this webposium is a conversation type. No, as a moderator, I will be asking them questions and any of the panel members can answer the question. By the way, I am Mr. Eduard Catapusan. I am currently connected with the Social Sciences Department, a former chairperson, and currently serving as the Assistant Director of the Gender and Development in the main campus. Okay, now our topic this afternoon will be about the post-truth phenomenon. Okay, so to lay down the premises and as well as the status quo of the post-truth phenomenon, I'll be asking the panel members to answer the first question. Okay, are we all ready, panel members? Okay, no response. I think we are all ready. All right.
Yes, we are.
So the first question will be about the definition of the post-truth phenomenon. Okay, and this is where our panel members will be laying down the premises, as well as the concept and the status quo of the post-truth phenomenon in the Philippines or even in the entire world. Okay, so what is a post-truth phenomenon? Anyone from our panel members can answer the question.
Sir Ed, I'll just start the conversation, no? So basically the post-truth era is all about the negotiability of truth. No? Prior to the post-truth era, there's a clear demarcation line between truth and opinion. But in the post-truth era, in the post-truth era, truth becomes a matter of negotiation, right? That's like just to give you guys a clear example, flat earthers, diba? It's a scientific truth that the earth is an oblate spheroid. So that's a scientifically accepted fact. So it's basically true that the earth is an oblate spheroid. But here comes flat earthers flooding Facebook with flat earth theories and saying that, you know what, guys, the earth is flat, and they have thousands of followers. And this is the risk of post-truth era because there are people without clear scientific backgrounds, people who are not even expert in science, who claim that, you know what, the earth is flat. This is a very clear example of what happens in the post-truth era. They try to they negotiate, they try to bend truth to their will. And truth, again, is different from opinion. And I'll leave it at that. Other panelists might have more insights in this matter.
Okay,
If I may
so
add,
the last phrase that Mr. Padayao has delivered was truth is different from opinion. And I think we all share about issues in the post-truth. Like I shared earlier that many of us fell victim of the fake news, for example, because we failed to filter out information. Yes, Mr. Asmonte has some words to substantiate the discussion this afternoon.
yes, I do agree with Sir Padayao about like fueling lies through online content, online media. For in fact, where in online media it appeals to emotions. So it's a very febrile environment wherein people are creating and sharing their own content online. And many readers, many students, many viewers have lost trust in mainstream media and migrated to like these online bubbles, or like these filter bubbles as we call it, or echo chambers as we call it, wherein like all these emotions trump fact-based evidence. So basically, as Mr. Padayao mentioned earlier, that the truth and lies the lines between truth and lies has increasingly being blurred uh, as we are as we are entering or we are in the post-truth era. It's basically very blurred right now. So I would liken it to a dystopia. I would liken it to this a dystopia because I've been reading dystopian books, and as also a requirement for my students, it's very dystopia. It's very Orwellian. I could say the post-truth era. So that's how I could explain the post-truth era.
Okay. Yes, Sir Earl Padayao.
Can I add?
Yes, before Mr. Banaay will say his piece no, about the definition of this post-truth phenomenon, I'd like to agree as well with Ms. Trasmonte. No? Many of our students, no, including, I would say, seniors already, those who are, I would say, too lazy no, to really research about certain issues. No? Many people have lost the belief of the media. No, they would easily ditch the idea that mainstream media would just peddle lies, no, but they would rather believe on those bloggers like Muka Oson, for example, right? To be very specific about it, no. So we have to be very careful about it. Okay, Mr. Banaay has something to say.
Yes, I would really agree with our panelists when we talk about, the post-truth era wherein we are challenging the truths or basically facts in itself. And of course, these phenomenon, when we talk about the pervasiveness of, lies that are spread, this is not quite new, right? This has been existing for quite some time. But how come here that in the age of social media, it has become pervasive in a sense that the truth is not only being challenged but also being replaced. Yeah, they say that social media democratizes everything, democratizes information. But what kind of information are we getting? But the kind of information, is it even verifiable? Is it being fact checked? Right? Because it starts from there. We talk about really talking about the truth because others would say, I have my own version of the truth, right? I have my own version because of my opinions and perspectives. But we need to understand that, the truth that we are getting to a point should be based on facts. It should not be, based on emotions, on, respect my opinion, but rather it should be grounded on facts, verifiable information. And this is quite alarming, especially you know, in the modern day context, because those kinds of truths, aka I put them in quotations, those kinds of truths are rather believable to a certain segments of society. And when they believe it, they parrot it more, they post it more in social media, and in social media algorithm, the more that they interact, the more that the more that we can see them in our own timelines and news feeds. So to one extent, I think there's also we have also a movement in countering such things because if we do not do nothing about it, then it will just spread out, and of course, it will have a grave impact on how not only how we perceive information, but even you know uh, clarifying or challenging facts, not just opinions, on that matter.
Okay, so we have some striking phrases, no, from Sir Banaay. He made mention about um, issues, no, or to be objective is to really determine, no, the facts. All right.
Let
Are
me
we
add.
allowing the audience now to? No, no, not yet. Before I would call Sir Halbuna, no, to say his piece. Our department chair of the Social Sciences Department is with us this afternoon. May I acknowledge the presence of Dr. Justin Bolado, sir. Welcome to the webposium conversation type. Do you have some words, sir, that you can also impart to our students? Sir Justin? Okay, so there is no response. I think Sir Bolado is probably preparing lunch because it's actually lunch break now. So I will call Sir Bolado later on to give us some of his knowledge about the post-truth phenomenon. All right, may I call Sir Halbuna? What can you say about
Right. Yes.
the premises that are already laid down concerning the post-truth phenomenon?
Right. Thank you, Sir Edward. I agree with the panelists now with their piece about post-truth phenomenon. The thing that I observe nowadays is the giving of emphasis on the subjectivity, knowing that their versions is the true or the truth, while the others are not. So this is something that that must be, I guess, something to be verified or to be, I mean, needs education on the part of those who believe in their peace as the truth. No, I know that I agree with Mr. Banai when he said that this is no longer new, because the term post-truth was in use, or the first one to use this was a Serbian American playwright, 𝗦𝗢𝗘𝗧𝗥, that was in 1992, in his article about the government of lies, where he criticized the people for submissively um, following the lies of the Bush administration. I do not know what kind of that lies, but I just want to give the beginning of the term post-truth. And for a philosopher, Hannah Arendt, he said that this is no longer new because people has tried to blur the truth, by giving exaggeration or wide interpretation, or probably trying to create a new face of the truth, which is no longer the same with the original one, and that is not a justification. While for the philosopher 𝗦𝗢𝗬𝗓, he argues that the post-truth phenomenon is for this philosopher is not a denial of the existence of truth and facts, but rather he gives emphasis on the subjugation of facts, not to personal preconceptions and a subjective perspective. So this is something that the first casualty or the primary casualty of the post-truth era or phenomenon is really the truth, and it is something that needs to be addressed, knowing that we've been, we encountered just like the last election that the one of the major issues of that election was the trying to subdue the fake news, especially the fake news peddlers. I guess we are already living in this era where truth is already a discussion or a point of discussion, if it's relevant or is still significant or important.
Okay. So do we have any other reactions from our panel members about the premises laid down by Sir Halbuna? I think we are all in common grounds, that there is really a question of truth, because of our failure to really filter out information and to easily believe what has been given to us, especially from the social media. I think we are all in the common, we have a common understanding, that this phenomenon is actually very dangerous, especially in the academe, where our students are very vulnerable, especially those who do not have access, better access of technology as well as internet connectivity. Word of mouth is actually very powerful. So when a person tells another person, so that person who is the receiver of that message may consider that message as the gospel truth without even verifying. So that would mean that we are also in the chismis era, correct? So some of our students, I think all of our students can relate to this. Are we catering questions or comments from the students? Is it allowed? Maybe we can entertain just one until we are finished with the rest of the questions that I will be asking you later on. Do we have comments from the audience, from our students? Especially my students in political science and law-related studies from the Shatton campus, education students from Shatton campus. Any questions or clarifications? Are we all are we all amenable, no, with the premises laid by our speakers, our panel members this morning about the post-truth phenomenon? If there are things that are unclear or information that are unclear, you may also inform us so that our panel members can also clarify. Do we have questions, comments, clarifications from the audience, our students? Or if you have some visitors who are not connected with Negros Oriental State University, you may also use the floor now to ask questions or to interact with our panel members. I guess there are none. There are no questions rather. So we will proceed to the next question. So brace yourselves, panel members. Okay, number 2. Since we're talking about, because facts have already been mentioned, and that the media, no, the mainstream media, no, has been the credibility of the mainstream media has been questioned already. So the next question is that, why do people, especially students, need to understand about post-truth phenomenon? Why is there a need? Why is this necessary for our students, especially in the academe, no, to understand about post-truth phenomenon? Who wants to go first? Sir Joven Halbona? Sir, turn on your microphone.
Yeah, there's a need for people, especially students, to understand the post-truth phenomenon, because the first reason, or the most important one, is the truth. As I said earlier, there is what we call in this nowadays what we call the MDM, or the misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Misinformation, these are false information, but not intended to cause harm or to manipulate. So probably it might be like a honest. Well, this information, this is the one that is very harmful, because this is a false information that is really intended to cause harm, to cause damage, and probably destroy reputations, like that institution mentioned. This is the one that is, it might be from the truth, but exaggerated one. That seems like, for Hannah Arendt, I guess this is the one that the interpretation is being blurred to the extent that it is no longer the same as the original content, or the original message. So for students and the younger generation, as the future of our country, they need to be aware and be conscious of this reality. Because if they would not, if they will not become the front line of addressing this issue, or this kind of controversy, then I don't think they want to face a future full of trickery and lies and deceptions. No, I cannot imagine a future where truth is already like a luxury that no one can afford. So something that is already existing, although this is already existing since like a few decades ago. But we can also visualize that in the future it might become massive, or probably uncontrollable. So while we are in this era or period that we can try to mitigate or to control this, we must, and the students, the younger generation, must be the first and in the front line to be educated about how to control this, or to prevent this as soon as possible. Red?
Okay, thank you, Sir Halbona. No, there's always a question of truth, and that students should be aware of this reality, no, as you said. And no, if this cannot be addressed, especially from the academe, no, you are actually correct. No, we might be asking questions about how much is the truth right now, right? Because if you are willing to give out the truth, then you will have to do compromises, no? But that's not what we are projecting here. No, we are projecting here that we should that students would be able to understand, no, the post-truth phenomenon, because later on we'll be talking about the risks. Okay, Sir Earl Padayao, sir.
Yes, sir, Ed, and thank you for the wonderful discussion of Sir Joven. No, I agree that we are in a phase where we can still mitigate the harmful effects of the post-truth era. And if there's anything that we need to understand in this era, is that it's all about the virality, the virality of certain information. When I say virality, it's ability to go viral. So when someone designs content online, when someone designs content for social media consumption or for web consumption, it's always designed to pique your interest. And the reason why lies are easier to spread is because they are presented in a palatable manner. It's easier to consume, it's bite-sized, it's easier to understand, among others. And the problem with people with us in academia, students and professors alike, is that we have a tendency to overcomplicate things, say them in a way that other people cannot understand. So I think the role of students in this post-truth era, and why you need to understand this, because you also have to tamper the tendencies of people in the academe and say, sir, what na may kasabot? How make us understand the truth? Help us understand the truth. And this is also my problem with top honcho professors, because when they say something, it's like gospel truth, but after they said something novel, so this is something that you guys need to do as students. No, you tell your professor, sir, if you want us to understand the truth, you help us understand the truth by saying it plainly, saying it simply, saying it in a way that students can understand it. And and other than that, you need to also make sure, no, you also need to understand that that virality can also be fought with virality. So you can help with that as students, and I'll leave it at that. No, perhaps, and while Sir Ed is still out, perhaps other members of the panel would like to jump in. Sir Ken.
Yes,
Ma'am-
I do really. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir Gwen, I do really like your the discussion at hand, especially when you talk about overcomplicating things, right? Like here in the academe, like we are experts in our field, right? And I think we have the challenge when we try to educate our students to make it to simplify things so that they can be able to understand our learnings, because I think one of the allure of the lies that are being spread, it's because it's very simple, right? When you talk about a meme, that is designed, that is that it has an agenda to it, it's very simple that everybody can be able to understand it. And if we are going to counter that with a very academic manner, right? When they try to explain things, students might not be as receptive. Well, it might work for some, right? But for others, they might feel it's tedious because the truth, the information that they're given to them, it's complicated. It's not in a bite-sized manner as they say now. So I think that is one of the challenge also when it comes to the academe, that for the students, for them to understand how not only the usefulness or the truthfulness when it comes to this, but also when it comes to understanding how they can be able to really find out the truth. And also in the academe, it bears upon us that we have the challenge to overcome those kind of things, that hopefully we can simplify to them not only the lesson or the concepts, so that to make it more sexy now when it comes to the academe, not just plain boring, not just plain discussion. And I think we have that problem given a time in our modality, diba? Or we are still an online learning setup. And I think that students do really tend to be bored with a lot of talk, which is, I think some of us are quite guilty of that when we talk about that, diba? Not as sexy when we talk about just browsing in the internet and finding information. And I think that students should really understand bridging the gap between the interest of the students and also to our lessons, because if we cannot bridge that gap, definitely the students will not only get the interest, but also they're still in the wilderness when it comes to finding out the truth.
That's right. No, the question here is actually how to make students be issue oriented. Correct? And because if they are not issue oriented, how can they be able to know the truth? No, they wouldn't bother, because many of our students, whether we like it or not, especially from NORSU, no, that they are apolitical. No, they do not. Some of them were basically are basically misguided of the information. No, maybe it helps, no, to make more clear about what we are talking about, on how the students would be able to understand. Why is it important for the students to understand the post-truth era, is to probably give us a practical example, no, about some issues that are confronting us. No, it could be political, it could be social, it could be economic. No, I think it helps students to understand and to appreciate, know what we are talking about this afternoon. So think of a practical example, no, later, so, before we proceed to the third question. Yes, Mistress Monte also would like to
Yes, I
share.
do agree. I do agree with all of the panel members. I think that because an average Filipino uses Facebook for at least 2 to 3 hours a day, and also the Philippines, known as the Facebook nation, I think disinformation is really a huge thing on social media. Everything is well, not everything, but technically everything is manipulated, or sometimes it could be taken out of context, right? And sometimes the students consume these media and think, oh, this must probably be true, where in fact this is purely fictional, right? And aside from that, the vulnerability of students, no, there are sometimes young individuals who see everything at face value, can be very gullible to poorer information. So they might be skeptical, or they might distrust it, but at the same time, on the other side of the spectrum, they might actually believe it. So social media really plays a critical role right now, because we use it to convey our lessons, right? We use Facebook groups to post whatever it is we're dealing with class. And so when we post in Facebook groups, we also know the fact that our students also scroll on Facebook. When your students add you on your work account, or what we call them, your work account, and you will see what your students share in their work accounts, you're like, oh, this is what they believe in, especially during the election season, wherein we're very drawn to like very populist types of leaders, and the Philippines is very drawn to those kinds of things, especially the youth. And what's relatable can sometimes be flawed, right? What's relatable might not be the truth at all. So I think it is a big, for educators. Yes, I do agree with what with a fellow panel member said, that you have to simplify your lessons. You have to make it a little bit relatable, because if you use like highfalutin words like that, like highfalutin, like you use those kinds of words, then obviously they wouldn't understand you, right? And you have to always relate it with practical knowledge. What's happening in society right now, so that they may be able to discern. When there's an election, they may be able to discern. When there's fake news online and they see their friends sharing it, they might ask them to like take it down because it's false, and not live in these echo chambers wherein, there's confirmation bias, literally, wherein you favor into news articles or content that reinforce your existing beliefs. We need to break away from that, students especially. And also educators in the academe should know how to take students out of their shells and participate in political discourse. So yes, thank you.
Yes, so far, no, the discussion is centered on students, and we cannot discount the fact, no, that they are actually vulnerable, no, when it comes to reading news, whether it's truth or not. But what will happen if the faculty are the ones, or the teachers, no, are the ones who are susceptible, no, to the post-truth? No, what will happen to, especially coming from the social sciences department faculty? I hope not. No, so it's really very sad and terrible for a faculty to not be able to at least help students understand about what truth is, and how we arrive such truth, correct? And it has been mentioned also by Ms. Trasmonte that media plays a critical role in helping us understand about post-truth. Not only post-truth, but a lot of things basically. But what will happen if people would stop believing the role of the social media in communication in general? So that's what we're going to answer, to tackle in the next question. Okay. Do we still have comments from our panel members? Okay. What about our audience? What about our students? Since the question number 2 talks about you to understand about the post-truth. You can, please do not be afraid. I'm encouraging everybody, our students, to speak up your minds, because that is what this exercise is for. For you to be able to be issue-oriented. If there are some issues that you would like to relate to pertaining to the post-truth phenomenon, or you have a personal experience or encounter about this, please let us know so our panel members can also give their unbiased opinion. Okay, do we have comments from our students? Our students are quite passive right now. I hope that they are all listening right now. I'm asking our students not to be passive all the time, because communication is always two-way. We learn from you, you learn from us. Okay, so how are we going to arrive in truth if you are just silent about anything? Do we have members from the Norsunian school paper here? Maybe a member of the Norsunian can also ask questions or clarify. This is very important, because members of the school publication are given the opportunity to really voice or express their concerns, sentiments, not only to the school but as well as to the issues confronting us. Anyone from the audience? Please do not be afraid to speak up. Okay, we have a question from 𝗦𝗢𝗬𝗓. Now, if you are too shy to interact via camera with our panel members, you can also write your questions in the chat box. I'll be reading them and I'll be recognizing you as well. Okay, so we have a question here, panel members, from the chat box. This is coming from Miss Leslie Orville. What if different teachers will present different truths? Okay, so I think this is quite catchy in a way that the question is framed in such a way, rather, that Miss Leslie is probably assuming that the teachers have different truths. So do we have different truths? How are we going to arrive with only one truth that is acceptable by all? Who wants to answer first? Sir
If I
Earl?
could go first, Sir Anne.
Yes, okay.
I'm getting the impression that the student was thinking that because there are different scholarly opinions from professors, that these are different truths. We have to delineate what is academic dissent, that you are trying to carve out a new body of knowledge from an already agreed consensus from among academics, and then there's this one professor saying, I disagree with everyone, I have research to prove that this is the truth. Then that's an academic. It's not necessarily that different professors, different instructors have different versions of truth, but it's really just a matter of discovering a clearer version of truth. It's a process. Truth can sometimes be a process. No, because as you know that even hard sciences, solid sciences, they evolve as insofar as conclusions are concerned. So yes, to a certain extent, I even encountered in the past of, especially during the election, I was teaching at a different university, just as a caveat, during the election season. My major student, I was handling them in philosophy of human rights, and they have another professor from another subject who submits a different political opinion. And when they go to me, I have a different political opinion. These are not different truths, but these are different opinions insofar as our politics are concerned. But academic dissents, usually when you see that in academia, when you see that from professors, they usually have the credentials to back their bark, no? So usually they have research to back it. Usually they have the necessary education to back it as well. But you have to deal in it. What is academic dissent and what is just their opinion, plain opinion, without research, without prior probing on the matter. And it's easy to see that. You Google your professors. Is this professor, for example, if you get let's say a professor in, let's say, in engineering, who gives an opinion about Maharlika Fund, or you get a professor of science who gives an opinion about philosophy. You have to verify, look, check the credentials of these professors. Are they do they have the necessary academic background to give sound opinions about specific topics? For example, I would not dare intrude in the realm of taxation because I am not a tax expert. I will not dare dwell in the realm of political science because I am not a political science expert, but we can talk about philosophy the whole day. So that's it for me. Perhaps other members of the panel have something to say.
Okay. So it's very important that we check the credentials, right? Because if you are a social science faculty, no, when you are specializing only in politics, then we cannot really give our professional opinion about economics, correct? So the same principle can also be applied, no, in the fields of engineering, in the fields of natural sciences, no. So when you are not an expert of such, then I think it's better for us to be silent about it, no, not because the more that you talk about it, no, the more that you commit mistakes, probably, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Wants to go first? Okay,
I
Sabrina.
have a comment. Yes, I have a comment regarding also what Sir Earl said. No, some professors, yes, no matter how the credentials that they have or somehow would really have varying opinions and varying truths, varying opinions, and sometimes because they are in that certain category in life, they're already professors, as you say, or instructors. They would think that their opinion is the most valid one. And I think that also trickles down to students, right? When a professor says something, they're expecting students to believe in it. So I think what you need to do, is to continuously question, ask questions, ask the right questions, and you can grill your professors actually, because when you think that when you think that you're reading the news correctly, when you're getting all this information correctly, I feel like when some professors, I'm not going to single out anyone because it can happen to anyone. People who are who are experts in their fields can somehow be victim of misinformation and disinformation, and can sometimes even be the one spreading conspiracy theories. And so I feel like, we have this very skewed, I think, professors, as perfect as you may look at them, they might have very skewed coverage of what they believe in, about their general beliefs. So they might be the ones sharing, disinformation and fake news. They might be the ones sharing all those conspiracy theories online. So I think that for students, really question your professors, and professors should not, I don't want to say this in a very disrespectful way, but I think that it is your duty not to embarrass yourselves in front of, to be completely blunt about it. Do not embarrass yourselves in front of your students, who can be actually really, really smart, right? You can, yeah, as Yes, as common as you know, we have friends, right? We do have friends who are different than us, but I guess just question and question. So that's my take on that.
Okay, so we have two comments from the two faculty from the Social Sciences Department. We have Sir Ryan Catadmano. According to Sir Ryan, maybe this is not about different truths, rather different opinions about the presented truth itself. Okay, who wants to elaborate or share their thoughts about this comment from Sir Ryan Catadman? At least, no, Sir Ryan Catadman has been listening to us. No, he's here with me in the office. So, do you have any comments with
I would just like to
how
answer.
Sir? Yes, Sir Banaay.
Yeah. Yeah, there might be a misconstrued sometimes that when we say about our own opinions, especially because we are, student, I think we should be careful on this. So what our panel has said, that since we are in a position of authority, whatever we are going to say, even if we are not an expert on the field, right? Students, because of our authority, students will tend to believe it, right? Because we are in that particular position. And I think professors, teachers also use that. Even if it's not on their specific field, on their specific lane, they can present opinions on their own. And not all students will be that vigilant enough, right, in really determining if that is the truth. Some students would be receptive, be a sponge in absorbing information. And even if that particular information is not grounded on the truth or grounded in the fact. And we've seen a lot of those teachers, not only in other universities, but even in our own universities, that we should be mindful in a way that since we are in that position, we should be vigilant enough to really understand what we are saying, because what we are saying can be construed as what Sir Gwen pointed out, as a form of a gospel already. The students will really believe it so. And of course, the opinions of other individuals, as students, we cross-check it, we fact-check it. If that opinion is really the truth, right? If that statement coming from one particular teacher, especially if that is not his or her field, it's really, if it's verifiable, if it's the truth. Because mind you, students, we are experts on our fields, but we also do commit mistakes from time to time, right? We are not infallible in a manner. That's why it also bear upon the students to to hold people, their teachers, accountable for what they're really saying or what they're really teaching.
Okay, thank you, Sir Banaay. I think we should let students understand about what an opinion is and what a fact is, right? Because in our class, in our own classes, we give our opinions, and at the same time, we also ensure that when we are going to present our lessons, because in my own experience, I have been teaching politics, for the longest time already. So, what I do is that I have a theory, where our opinions can actually be challenged, because not all opinions are valid, especially the opinions are seditious in nature, or it's already leaning towards twisting, what is really the truth, behind it, So, yeah, it's very important that we define, very, very clearly what an opinion is and what a fact is, especially when we are handling our classes. We present facts. These are really hardcore facts, with all the data. We call it empirical data. So that's how we teach. There's always a grasp or a gauge of reality when we teach, especially in the fields of political science. We have another question from from the faculty, of the Social Science Department. Our department chair is asking a question. What happens when teachers believe in a lie and claim it as truth without evidence? Can we teach the teachers? Okay, so this is already on the professional level. No, this is no longer about the teacher and the student, but this is already an issue where a teacher can be reprimanded or not, no, for not telling the truth without evidence. Okay. Is this sensitive? It can be sensitive as well. However, what we are after here is actually the truth, right? What we're after here is the truth. And as the old adage says, the truth will set us free, correct? Okay. What's your reaction about this question, Sir
Let me,
Joven?
yeah.
Since you are also in the same field, no, of Sir Justin, no, you're under the wing of Sir Justin, no, and
Yeah.
I also
Yes.
understand that the efforts that Sir Bolado and other equally distinguished faculty members of history, that you're really fighting, no, against fake news, for example, no. So we are really commending your efforts of doing that. Sir, what can you say about Sir Bolado's question? No? What's the takeaway of this? Can we teach the teachers, no, if they are claiming truth without evidence?
Thank you, Sir Ed. Thank you, Sir Justin, for that question. Yeah, this is the problem when it comes to, because this is already in a professional level, and then we do not want to offend or to insult anybody in our level, like our colleagues. So the example of this one is the recent, or again, this is already going on, the what we call historical revisionism, the attempt to revise the history. And this new claim or attempt to revise the history is not really grounded with facts or evidence. So this is something that needs to be addressed. One thing that I can cite, probably if that is your friend, you can tell directly. Maybe you can have a discussion. One thing that I can cite in a professional level, I mean professors already, educators, is the historians like Hiboyen and Schumacher. I know that their names are already like popular when it comes to history, but they have this medium where they tried to refute one another when it comes to their perspectives, regarding history. Hiboyan attempted to correct Schumacher when it comes to his interpretation about Rizal, because Schumacher is just for a background. Schumacher is like a Jesuit historian, a priest, and then his perspective is more lean on the Spanish perspective. So basically, he defended the friars during the occupation in the Philippines, while Kiboyan was trying to justify or to refute him from the perspective of Filipino perspective. So I guess academic discourse, probably through debate if necessary, exchange of articles like criticisms is only a way, also a way to probably cite the mistakes or the wrong, interpretations about a certain issue that is not grounded in facts or evidence. And I guess, as I said earlier, I guess the most basic one is to tell directly, or to teach directly the teacher without or in a way that we cannot offend or insult. Something like that, Sir Ed.
Okay, thank you. But this must be told, no, in a professional way, no, to avoid severing ties or relationship with our colleagues, no, in the academy. Okay, we are already it's already 12:54. No, I think this is 1 hour is not enough to cover everything, correct? Maybe I'll ask na lang the last question and then you can wrap up na lang. Okay? The last question is, how can post-truth be prevented? And what is the role of the academe in resolving this? Who's going to go first?
I'll just go, Sir Ed, very quickly. Insofar as our role in the academe in the post-truth. I think our role is basically to intervene directly in the conversations. I don't think that the academe should be in the margins. It has always been like that. No, we only interact when it's something academic or posh, like conferences or things like these. Or we would just post articles when we have free time. I think that we have to be more proactive about it. We have to really go out there where the conversations are happening in the streets, in social media. One of my friends said na the fight are in two levels. The first level, the parliament of the streets, and the second level is the parliament of social media. You go there, speak there, post there, use your expertise there. That's where we help people in that platform understand that this is the accurate appreciation. This is the accurate appreciation of certain events, accurate appreciation of certain issues, and then we present truth in an objective academic perspective online and on the streets. And again, I like to repeat what I said earlier, that our presentation should be bite-sized and understandable. Dili nang lisod-lisoron siya ang pagkasulat, lisod-lisoron ang pagka-deliver sa data. We have to make sure that whatever we're trying to say is understandable. And I think I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Ms. Trasmonte,
Yes.
how can post-truth be prevented, and what is the role of the academe?
Yes, I do agree with Sir Padayao that we have to make everything simple. Now that's our role. It's the role of the academe to do continuous research. As teachers, we should always research and try to make sure that everything we project in class are factual. We should also encourage, actually one way of gauging our students is to encourage them in grassroots activism. Like I always tell my students that activism is not bad. You know, when you engage online with other people, such as your friends, it's very good, you know. It should start in the grassroots all the time. At the same time, as you know, we cannot really change opinions overnight, or we cannot really change existing beliefs overnight. I think it is very important that when we try to convey information, because especially during the election season, no, when it was very big that those who supported candidates leaning towards the left are elites at some sort, like very elitist or something, and those who were sort of in the populist side of candidates are sort of the more makabayan, you know, like the ordinary Filipino. I think we should debunk that in our classes, and we should make sure that our students understand our lessons, especially in the contemporary world, especially in sociology. The contemporary world is a mixture of politics, sociology, and international relations. So I think that it should be simplified for them to understand these things so that they can converse about it. They could converse about it simply with family and friends, and can probably elaborate the discourse on such variety of topics, such wide variety of topics, and make it their own, you know, make it something that they understand and they could vehemently tell to other people, like their families, because parents are usually the ones who are with fewer digital skills, I feel like, and they are more susceptible to passing on rumors and misinformation most energetically. So I think students as young individuals should also educate their parents. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sabrina. No, I think we forgot to mention about the issues on red tagging, no, and the misconception of the activism. Correct, because that is one of the rights enshrined in the Constitution. No, Sir Banaay, the same questions. How can post-truth be prevented, and what is the role of the academe? Maybe you can also wrap up your thoughts.
Yes, just adding to everything that was said, in the role of the academe, it's not only in the lessons that we learned or in the lessons that we teach to our students, but it goes beyond that, right? what will be the lessons that we learn if it's just within the proverbial four walls of the classroom, right? If it will not be practiced, if it will not be actualized into real life. And I think that's one of the main things here in the academy, that apart from teaching, hopefully that we learn also, we impart to the students to actualize all of the things that they were able to learn in class. Everything is political, everything can be everything can be a political discourse. And of course we challenge if we think that if we think that it is not in conforming with our beliefs, we challenge. We do have that responsibility, provided of course that we have the information to back all things up. And to wrap up the discussion, we need to bridge the gap, as what the constant theme of this is. We need to simplify our lessons to the students, right? The delivery, so that as much as possible, the allure of a meme is equal to the allure of teaching these key concepts here in class.
Okay, thank you, Sir Banaay. Sir Halbona.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Sir Ed. With regards to that question, I guess I'll go back also to the particular and the most basic one, that is the four-cornered room, where the learners are receiving at the same time interacting to their respective professors, instructors, or teachers. So basically, the students should be teach or taught how to weigh in things or issues, or probably I guess they have to be given with like controversial or issues related, especially like coming from social, economic, or political, that they can, they need to be critical, like they can weigh. You will be giving them things or opinions, and then they have to weigh in, because by the time that they will know how to weigh in things, and then to distinguish what is not and what is the truth, then I guess that is the most important one. Now, aside from those, like the aside from teaching them directly what is the truth, because they cannot know how to weigh in what is not. So just this skill, or like a knowledge, because this is like the critical thinking skill, like how to separate what is the truth and what is not. So I guess that is the most basic one, that they have to know how to be critical, how to verify, and how to separate opinions from, or like unjustified opinions from justified opinions.
Okay, so I think we are all in agreement, no, to teach our students critically, no, so that they can also develop critical minds, and they would also know how to analyze. No? And I think that ends our webposium. No? 1 hour is not enough to cover everything, no? Because we have so many
Yeah.
issues to consider. I think we have to do this next time, for us to be able to tackle, no, some of the important concepts and issues, no, soon, when we have the sufficient time. Yes, Sir Padayo.
Thank you, Sir Ed. I'd like to take this opportunity to take the photo, the group photo. So there are quite a lot of people in the call, so kindly continue smiling. Sige, teka lang ha. So this is the first sheet where only the panelists are part of. Sige, smile muna. 1, 2, 3. Okay, teka lang, let's do that again. Sige, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now this is in gallery view. So everyone kindly turn on your video so that we can take the photo. Okay, this is the first of 10 sheets. So kindly continue smiling. 1, 2, 3. Second sheet. Please continue smiling. Okay, just continue smiling, guys. There are a lot of sheets here. So, okay, this is the fifth one. Just continue smiling. Thank you so much to all who attended. This is quite a huge, no, it's a huge crowd. We have 241 right now, but earlier we had around 208. Okay, that's everyone. Thank you, Sir Ed. Thank you to the rest of the panel. Sir Ryan would like to say something. I think he's raising his hand.
Sir Ryan. He cannot unmute himself.
Go ahead, Sir Rai.
Here. Yeah, I was not about to raise my hand, but it was accidentally clicked. But I would like to share this one because we are not really accepting Elson students here, learner with what do you call that one? That Elson special education needs as what we have in our list. All are normal student, but guys, please raise questions if you think that the topic is really intriguing to you. Don't just believe right away because those speakers have titles like PhD or whatsoever. Because that's the common notion these days. You tend to believe something because they have title. What if they are only having those title by accident? Okay, don't just easily share something from social media without checking the background. What I call this one, the supporting details, evidences, and whatsoever. Okay, and that's thank you guys.
Thank you, Sir Rai, for your inputs as well. So I guess that ends our conversation type, no, or the group, I would say group discussion type, no, of webposium. I hope that we can see you. We will see you, no, in the next activity. No, we will just let you know. And I hope that our students, no, have learned something about post-truth and why we are so keen about identifying or determining what facts are and what opinions are. Okay, so I'll see you when I see you. Thank you very much for coming. You may now leave the Zoom meeting. I think the speakers should remain as well. We will have just a quick briefing. Thank you, Dr. Shello, for joining us and for supporting our initiative at the Social Science Department. Gikan pa in taon o board meeting. And the term di ay, no, according to Ma'am Shello, the term is panel discussion, no, ang term ani sa international conference. So thank you, Ma'am. The term is panel discussion. Salamat, Ma'am Shallo. I wish ka naka-join ka na mo earlier, no? Pero sige na, nakasabot rami kay prior engagement na today. Pero we will let you know, ma'am, before second semester end, siguro no, naapa may mga inani nga mga activities. So we will let you know ahead of time. Salamat, ma'am. Ma'am Prissy of the English Department and as well as our BOR Secretary. Salamat, Ma'am Shello. Okay. Asa naman yung panel members? So, kumusta man? Kumusta Kenneth? Earl? And Sabrina? Did we deliver? What was needed to deliver? Naka-deliver ba ta?
In the call, but wait lang ha. Let me very quickly end the call and jump in again. Same link. Same link.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay.